I think we've all learned that patience is a virtue. We're super excited to talk about these next couple episodes, so why don't we just welcome you back to the land of magic. Reach out, and our after show will begin. It's the Little Witch Academia after show on AfterBuzz TV, and it starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Little Witch Academia after show right here on AfterBuzz TV. Today we're talking about Pohjola's Ordeal and Amanda O'Neill and the Holy Grail. We got the whole squad here, starting with Rachel Goodman.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rach Goodman or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman.
We got Stacey Shuttleworth.
And I'm Stacey Shuttles. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles.
And I'm the internet's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. Super excited to be back talking about the show. Remember, we said at the end of last episode, we're going to be quad dipping, I guess. Double dipping on double episode recaps.
Double dipping on our double dipping.
Double dip. All right. This has been so much fun, and we got to watch a couple more episodes. We've got the plot rolling at a big old pace. We find out, or Akko finds out that she has to find all these words, and then all of a sudden, we just start finding words.
All the words are just being thrown at us.
Seriously.
Here's the next word, then the next word. Words!
So let's start out with Pohjola's Ordeal. Akko has told her friends about the words. Apparently she can't shut up about them. But here we are. They just start talking about something. One of the orbs glows. They go to Ursula, and our adventure begins.
It sure does.
Did you, at the end of the last episode, did you expect Akko to tell her friends about her magical destiny?
See, I wasn't sure. And Akko's the kind of person who will share anything and everything, especially with her friends. You know, not the type to keep secrets at all.
Yeah.
You're right. But with something this important, I feel like even if she was told, hey, probably don't tell anyone else about this right now.
I don't even think she was worried about that. I think
No.
if anything, she would just started talking and expected them to listen.
Yeah. So they just know all about it just because she was probably sitting there in their room just talking about it.
Yeah, and I when Ursula/Chariot was telling her all these things, she didn't say it was some big secret.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of expected that Akko would tell her friends because of that. And because there was no disclaimer that said, "Hey, don't talk about this."
If these are talked about, then you can't bring them about in the proper way.
Yeah.
But what we've learned over the course of these two episodes, and even in episode 13, was that, and even in the intro, it looks like you can't. It's not something that can be done on your own. You have to have the support of friends, at least two, seemingly, with the very beginning of the three, which is grabbing arms. Who knew? I'm happy that we've got everybody involved on these adventures, especially this one, because we're visiting Lotte's family.
Yeah. Trips over
the lumberjack.
Lotte's parents are a dream come true. Their neighbor had a fish for a ponytail.
She sure did. That was excellent.
She really did.
She did. Was it fashion? Does it grow that way? I have questions.
It's just the way the air is in that part of the world. I know, I've been there.
In their town.
Yeah.
It's a fashion statement.
It's a fishing statement.
Nope.
Excuse me.
Nope.
But when we found out that we were going to be going on a field trip, how did y'all feel that the rest of the episode was going to go?
I mean, I knew it was gonna. There were shenanigans. There were going to be shenanigans. I love meeting all the families.
Yeah.
There's so much about our characters.
Yeah, we haven't met. I mean, I guess she's the first parents that we've met. We haven't met the Cavendish family yet.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I'm ready for that one.
Oh, Susie's.
Yeah. I would love to meet her parents.
But they're just so normal.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. They're probably the most normal people ever. Hate mushrooms.
Right? I don't even cook with mushrooms. Just no.
I would figure if anything they'd be like Hermione's parents. They just have completely normal vocations, and also our daughter is a terrifying mushroom witch. But we love her.
Just roll with it.
But we love her and we support her.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Something silly like that. So excited about this field trip.
Yeah, I knew that first of all, I knew that whatever the word actually meant was whatever they were going to learn in this episode, and that by the end of it, she'd say the word and win. So that's
because we've fallen so suddenly far into here's what you need to do, magical destiny, save the world. All right, go. And then they're just going at breakneck speeds. Did you think that we were going to lose some of the charm of the show by being pulled into sort of a regular anime trope?
I think it's built such a foundation to be charming and wonderful that we're in that world, and it's hard to detract from that at this point. So I think that it can still be pretty magical even if we're focusing a little hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that it's such a unique concept. Maybe not necessarily the quest, but the world and everything involved in the world is so unique that to me it doesn't matter even if it is like a typical quest where they're trying to find certain things, because every time I think that I understand the show and I understand what they might be doing, they do something that completely shocks and surprises me. So I knew it was going to be interesting no matter what happened, and I knew it was going to just completely be so different from what we would expect to happen.
Especially because it took us 13 episodes to really get a grasp on these characters and who they are, so that now we have the sort of expectations from them and all of the character work that they've done versus the expectations of what a regular anime is, really. Beyond excited that we got a field trip. The fact, though, that this was... we'll get there. While we have the little bit of fun where the girls indulge in a local pastry that Akko doesn't necessarily enjoy because there's fish in it, then they take a trip to the sauna where Akko is just not. She's not showing any sort. She just wants to do what she needs to do. Let's do the next thing. I want to go to the next thing. We're going to do things, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and then we're going to go there. And I said it while we were watching the show. I just went, it's patience. It's patience. Show some bloody patience, you girl. But while all of that is happening, we've also got Croy in her gross secret lab, eating spicy pork ramen, as you do when you're locked up in work. What sort of teaching is she doing if she's seemingly locked herself in her lab?
I mean, her class seemed very lax anyways. It was just kind of like, hey, you can show up to my class or not. You're not signed up for it or anything, but come visit, come take a class.
Maybe she does online classes.
I was gonna say, what if it's a projection?
Oh,
what if it is an AI, the equivalent to an AI construct that has all of her data in it? Because she scans everybody, she would have to test that out on herself first, and so that's there as the front, and then she's in the lab doing all of the work.
So she doesn't have to do any actual teaching.
Maybe she's not even on campus.
well, we do know that the lab is in the spire that holds the Sorcerer's Stone, or at least the new moon lab.
Right.
But she's testing out different magic based on the color spectrum, which is what we were talking about last episode.
It's okay. It was like a week. No.
Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, she discovered she's trying blue magic, yellow magic, red magic, which she finds out is the strongest and is associated with rage and anger. Ooh boy! And then she just looks at her charts and beeps and boops computers and says noir fuel spirit.
Yeah,
technology.
Well, if noir fuel spirit, if it's black fuel, and we're talking about the color spectrum, and black is the absence of all color. So in doing this color research, she would have to figure out how to develop a non-color, and then at that same token, a little bit into predictions territory, that we will have white magic, which is the presence of all color, as opposed to the opposite, and it'll just get purely light versus dark, sort of a gimmick. I don't like the evil lady.
No. Yeah, no, and finding out that she's like synthesizing these spirits is a whole new level of it's dark for this.
And the fact that she's utilizing the routers, as we see in the second episode that we're going to talk about, to test out her demon cubes.
Yeah.
More cubelins, if you were. But the main crux of this episode is that there is a rare occurrence that the pastry that they imbibed, with the alignment of the planets, with the weather, with this time of year,
with the mating rituals of the herring.
Yes.
Yeah. And the pollen.
And the pollen levels.
And yes, I would like to reference The Simpsons and what's going on in that kitchen, Aurora Borealis, at this time of day, in this part of the country, and in this... Yes. Oh, all right.
Yeah. And just how fast they were saying it, too. Like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, we got it. Thank you. But as a result, it's Greenman's disease, where everybody who imbibed in this particular pastry gets covered in moss and eventually will die.
That's giant moss.
It got real.
It did.
Real fast. Especially it's like, oh, our parents are so perfect, and they're gonna die.
Right, and it's Pointe Lotte like reading this, like, and then they, what?
And I was wondering why Susie and Lotte didn't actually make reference to the fact that they ate it too, so it was bound to happen to them.
Well, but I think because of being caught up in it all, and who knows, like, in the baking process, they've probably had a couple, so they had it probably several hours earlier.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
I honestly almost didn't expect it to affect Susie at all.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what immunity she has built up through all of her experimentation.
And one thing I'm a little disappointed at is that we didn't get like a, wow, you didn't pick the mushroom that was growing on me? I could have used that. It would have been an entirely new mushroom that has never grown anywhere. It's a mushroom made from me.
I'm excited about that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So they have to make this potion. They have to get very specific things in very specific parts of the country, or at least of the area. And we find out that Mr. Nicholas has got some reindeer.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And we get the second allusion to Santa Claus in 2 episodes.
Yeah, we are focusing in on that one.
Now, do you think that was just set up punchline for 1 episode, 2 episode? Or do you think we're going to get more Santa?
By any chance, when this came out in Japan, did it happen to be?
No.
Okay.
No. It started in January. So it would have been a little bit after. But I don't know. I would like some more Santa, please. Because that's another magical reference. They're going across all of the spectrum of any sort of magical being in any culture, which is so fun and refreshing. I absolutely love it. And I thought, how do you contact him? Like this, Mr. Nicholas! He's not coming. This whole thing was pretty sad with just how Lotte was trying so hard, but Ako just didn't have the patience.
With anything.
Nothing. Whoops, kick the tree. No, it's not. It can't be like that.
That's not how it works.
Dude, I will say, the sneeze, not her fault. Maybe she was just.
Oh, okay, sure.
Well.
I mean, but could we technically say that Ako herself is a force of nature?
That is true. I will say, though, they're technically all still getting over colds from when they lost power during the strike.
That is true. They were pretty sick.
Yeah.
All right,
allergies.
fine. I will let that be a legitimate sneeze.
Eastman in chat says, we need a Little Witch Academia Christmas episode. Of course we do.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And make it similar to Harry Potter. Whatever. I don't care. Just do how you do. However, well, actually, since they're all multicultural from different parts of the world, have them all bring their own form of Christmas in, and then that would be the third Santa payoff, like Beetlejuice. Ako ends up having to solve this whole thing on her own, and she ends up finding Mr. Nicholas, gets some particulate from the reindeer, and a wonderful just little
It's beautiful.
perfect rabbit. Not reindeer didn't like that. Poop for me, no. I really
Poor
hope somebody
reindeer.
was walking. Poor reindeer.
After
Exactly.
she nearly
So
scared it to
upset.
death.
And kept whapping it like, come on, faster.
Oh, I know. This poor thing.
Yeah.
She deserves a vacation after that
Yeah.
ordeal.
But there's also, they need a capsule forged by a Yeti. And so we find our Yeti. It looks like a regular workman Joe with suspenders and jeans. And Akko's sitting there, sort of. How would you put her treatment of
Oh my
our Yeti
God.
friend?
The guy's trying to work.
Yeah, I mean, impatient.
Yeah. Going back to our theme.
And
She gets so frustrated so easily.
but also like not even all of this. A little bit like that's why I was like it should be patience, but at the same time she's not. She's being very rash in terms of how she's expressing herself as this force of nature that we've come to know her as. She's not taking into account the feelings, like the fact that, hey, these are my family's traditions. This is traditional food that we eat, and ultimately it did end up saving her life. But it's still like without any sort of reticence, going right to the trash can and spinning it up and then like tossing it out, which makes for a funny visual. But then it's also like, I opened up my home to you. You guys are my friends, and you can't show me. Like the Susie and Lotte were enjoying the sauna, and I can't even be in the bath longer than 3 minutes. I just gotta keep moving. I gotta go. Like it was just. It's also just her. I would say respect. It was also her respect for the other people around her that she is asking so much of.
Yeah.
Which we especially learned from the Yeti,
Yes.
who spent so he makes some sort of public craft or has like a YouTube channel where he does like assembly tutorials or something like that because he's got all these negative internet comments that are chastising him for his work. The poor guy.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Akko's sitting there.
That's
In
why.
person
Yeah.
doing this to him.
And I mean, especially being people on the internet subject to those comments, having somebody like having the distance between a comment and your work is like, oh, whatever. What do they know? But then having somebody in your home coming up to you and personally sort of confirming those little things in the back of your head, not great.
And he's trying to work as, I mean, she kind of wasn't really saying anything while he was actually making it, but can you imagine the pressure of trying to get something to be perfect when you know that your client, even though she's not really the client, he's just like doing it for free, but can you imagine like you're trying to get this to be absolutely perfect because you know the person in front of you expects it to be absolutely perfect. Oh my gosh, the pressure.
Yeah, and literally sitting there staring at him. Like,
Yeah.
and, Akko, very little personal space right there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Probably
you
glaring.
making that? Is it perfect?
Hey, that corner is a little.
The color.
Those are the same color. Those are both awful. Can you stop?
Match.
Eventually, she realizes, oh, I've been a jerk, and really encourages him to the point where he makes it really large, accidentally. You know what? But then it was you know what? It's perfect. It's fine. It's being able to acceptance is another thing too that she needed to learn. Miraculous Corazon says, "Can Frank please meet Lotte's parents?" Getting a little ahead of ourselves, aren't we? They just are. They're friends. Dang it! And then also the Yeti. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice that we were being passed by a ship. Also in chat, the Yeti and 12th Annabelle need to meet. Yeah. Let's put that in the Christmas episode too.
I would love that.
That'd be pretty adorable.
They could have a support group.
Yeah. Why does it always go back to internet comments? Because, I mean, Trigger's... Well, actually, Studio Trigger has been the subject of some... Some? Yeah. So, some people haven't always been happy with the Studio Trigger product, but, I mean, whatever. Regardless, Akko ends up starting to make the potion, which ended up being a rainbow and really pretty. And she realizes all right, time to say the words Mainab Dishibudo, excuse me, ends up turning the shiny rod into a sprinkler and doing a little bit of yard work and saving the day.
Yeah, and everyone's cured.
Everyone's cured. Patience was the key, and that was the ordeal. Any final words about this episode before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think that covers it.
Yeah.
All right. The next episode was Amanda O'Neil in the Temple of Doom. Excuse me, Amanda O'Neil in the Holy Grail. We've got a little bit of this ends up being an Amanda and Akko adventure where they find out that the Appleton Academy has the Holy Grail. Why do we want to see the Holy Grail? Because
Sounds cool.
sounds pretty cool. Why is it holy?
Amanda's got to know before she bounces.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna leave the school tomorrow. You said that yesterday and the day before that. Well, I'm gonna
I say it every day.
I'll say it every
This
day.
time I mean it. Ugh.
Empty words, empty
Yeah,
promises.
seriously.
But something right before they go off on this adventure, they go to Ursula and they talk about the next word, the fifth word, and you're like, "Wow, we're really blowing through these, aren't we?" And just as she's about to share what the word is, we got our favorite professor, Professor Fenelon, coming through and saying, "Hey, what about that thing I asked you to do? The Cavendishes need our help."
Yeah.
What?
Ooh, that was an
Yeah.
interesting.
A little twist there.
Yep.
Why do the First of all,
could they
why?
need?
But also, the Cavendish and Diana and Andrew seem to always, when it comes to be about family, they always tend to be in similar conversations, at least proximity wise. Oh, that should have been the first hint, even though you picked up
Yeah.
Appleton is where
I
Andrew
was
goes
like,
to school.
Isn't that where Andrew goes to school? I don't know if they've mentioned it, but I just kind of assumed because he's in
I think
the
they,
opening.
I
I
think
think they did.
they mentioned it for he was the ball that they threw for him is because of his exemplary grades
Yeah.
at Appleton or something like
Yeah.
that. But the girls end up sneaking away to Appleton, magical router in hand, and Amanda ends up disguising herself, and Akko, because it's the only spell she knows, ends up disguising herself as a mouse, and we've got some more mouse Akko.
Always good.
Bloody adorable.
Always good.
Yeah. Squeak.
Squeak.
And we get our glimpse of Andrew, but we also get a glimpse of Lewis, who is the son of an administrator there and is just a terrible person.
Awful.
First impressions? is that Susie's?
comment.
Is that are we gonna who are we shipping with Lewis here?
See, I kind of shipped Amanda and Lewis only because of how much they were fighting.
She will put him in his place.
Yeah, exactly.
Again and again
Again,
and again.
yeah.
And
Whenever it needs to happen.
it's one of those
Without,
things
like,
where on the wall there's
hesitation.
just gonna be a tally and it says fencing duels and just Amanda's just gonna whack.
Yeah.
His side is going to be
It's gonna be like
empty.
one. I was like, I had a cold.
Right?
I was like, he needed that one that
I
day.
had to.
I had the
okay.
He looked like he needed a win.
I don't know. I don't know if Amanda's that kind of person who would
Oh,
give
yeah.
one up. I
Yeah,
don't think so.
that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Not even in that case.
So while Amanda is gallivanting around, she bumps into Lewis and who are you? Am I supposed to know you?
I loved that.
Yeah. Does that mean I'm supposed to know you? I have no idea who you are.
Take him down a peg already.
Seriously, their life is perfect. But what did Amanda do to deserve Lewis?
Fair.
But ends up discovering Akko not as a witch, but just as a mouse. Wait a minute. We exterminated rats because of witches. Okay. A little paranoid here.
Boy, we might have an issue.
Seriously.
Chill.
Did anybody think that that's where the trouble was going to start?
With Akko?
Well, like instantly, because, and I mentioned it while we were watching it, this is the longest that Akko has gone in that spell, which first, but also, like, expect her to poof out of it, or...
You know, I didn't even think about that at that point. I think I was already kind of anticipating, oh, of course, now is when Andrew's going to show up.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Yeah.
The knight in shining armor he is. Lewis, a.k.a. even worse Andrew. Thanks, Gregory.
See, I like Andrew now, especially after this episode. I liked him before, but I like him even more now.
I totally have a soft spot for Andrew.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Okay. Let me finish my thought.
All right.
How, as an audience, we can go through the same emotional journey as a character is, because at the last episode with Andrew and Akko in it, she was still like, Andrew, whatever.
That guy.
I guess that guy. And then throughout this episode, they have more conversation about their ideals and life goals and lack thereof. Something that stood out to me was Andrew saying, life isn't about what you want, which is so sad. We learn more about him and how his life has been written for him, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's always given off that kind of illusion, though. He definitely has very little control over what he gets to do.
I think now, though, the more that he interacts with Akko and the more he sees how free-spirited that she is, he's getting more adamant about being like, no, I have to stick to this because this is how I've been living my entire life. And does that mean if I change now, does that make my life a lie? And an entirely different sort of, maybe a little bit too deep for a kid's show, thought process, but
it's that pushback.
yes, yeah.
See, I thought that everything he was saying kind of echoed the last episode that we saw him in, where he was basically saying, yeah, my life is predetermined, blah blah blah. Except this time when Akko was talking about Chariot and how she was basically going to keep pushing for what she wanted, I genuinely felt like Andrew was having a breakthrough moment, even though he didn't admit it or say anything to her, and even kind of basically was going to say, was in the process of saying something kind of rude. I still think he was having a moment where we were seeing him change, even right in that second.
Yeah, because his affirmation of, you're continually asking her, well, you want to do this and make the world a better place, but what if nobody cares? It's like, I'm going to keep going. Duh, idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that?
It's a little eye-opening. And maybe if he isn't ready to accept or like to seek that for himself or to think about it for himself, I think he's starting to accept it as part of who Akko is and something she gets to do, as opposed to what? No, you can't do that. What? You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Kind of mentality he's had before.
So while Akko is running around looking for the Holy Grail, again, for a reason, cubes!
Yeah.
Those cubes.
Ooh.
It's like,
Dun dun dun.
What are you doing here? They're having an adventure, and Andrew's here. We've got enough on our minds.
There's a lot going on already.
There's a lot happening.
We gotta process this first.
There's people with pointed hats.
What is Croy up to now?
One thing at a time.
That was enough
Oh
for me
my
to
God.
process for an entire episode's worth.
Wait a minute. She's a witch. That must mean her rat is a witch too. All right, racist brigade. Let's get going.
Oh my God.
That was
It was nuts.
Fine, I'll say this. Come on, inequality brigade.
Got a little too real faster than I had anticipated.
I did not expect that. I mean, I kind of expected they might do something. I
Yeah.
didn't think it would get like that crazy.
That was like a full. I mean, that was blatant. Like they were not tiptoeing around
And these are
anything.
like, 12, 13, 14-year-old boys?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we're in that 14.
Yeah, this is essentially
16 span.
Never mind. Not going to make that joke.
Yeah.
But regardless, I had made the joke as we started, like, oh, it's like they could have just done Salem, something similar to that, which essentially is what we got. Iron Maidens.
Yep.
An Iron Maiden, one of those spike cages, and essentially it's, hey, you're put on trial. You're sentenced to death.
Yeah,
What?
seriously. So much for the trial part.
Again, Andrew to the rescue. A true gentleman. I thought he was gonna be like, "Bah!" like take a blow to the heart.
But I kind of liked that because that was totally in line with Andrew's character and his upbringing. Use principles to fight, to fight back or to stop something really crazy from happening.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So Lewis ends up challenging Amanda to a duel at this really skinny bridge at
Who
sunset.
proved that? Like, who was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that bridge can stay,
Yeah.
and the students should have access to it.
Bylaws.
Good tradition.
Yeah.
Solid.
Andrew has a tuxedo mask moment. But this definitely not as cool as, I mean, so far action scene winner is Zero Suit
Without a doubt.
Chariot. But this was still a really cool, there were still elements of fencing in here, so very traditional, but also you could see in his movements Lewis losing control by how wide and how focused he wasn't. And at the end of the duel, after Amanda wins, he shatters the Holy Grail, which, first of all, I don't know if it would have shattered that easily.
Yeah, you would
Not-
think that.
Yeah.
But we also don't know what it was made out of.
True.
But if we go off of Indiana Jones logic, it should have been a wooden cup.
No, it was very shiny glass, apparently.
That's what-
Metallic glass.
Maybe it
it was
was-
spray painted.
glass metal.
Maybe it was the foe.
It was- they chose poorly. That's how it
I mean, it
goes.
was so easy to get it. Maybe
Yeah.
it
Right,
wasn't
can
the real one.
Can we just talk about how, like, they spend all this time searching all these, like, crevices and statues and hidden places, and it's just, like, sitting up front?
It's in an ornate
In the-
chest.
yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it was the cubes that led Akko to it.
Yeah.
So she's got some. I wonder if now that Akko has been scanned by Croy, if she can utilize her like magical position or like triangulate a position because she has her location or like whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
if she's created some sort of
Like GPS.
magical tracking
right,
device.
yeah.
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 Who
Oh boy.
knows?
And we're not there yet. We're gonna get there in a moment. Eastman, thank you. But the red cube magic that sort of guided, that was put into the Grail, was released when it broke. Went into the big suit of armor, and I thought we were just gonna get big suit of armor, then Lewis and Amanda are gonna fight together, and then it's gonna be that.
Right.
No.
Nope.
Takes over Lewis, which is like, oh, all right, that's a little bit of a smarter idea because Amanda then has to fight a lot more carefully to not kill him.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of this fight?
It was amazing.
It was a good fight.
I especially loved how the one moment when Amanda's like on her hands and her legs are like turning around in a circle.
Oh, the spin kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally within her
Yeah.
realm of
Well,
possibility.
we knew Amanda. She's pretty agile and she's got the moves. So
Yeah.
that was it. That was a good fight scene to throw her into, especially almost defenseless. I mean, her little fencing sword got destroyed immediately.
But once she had her magic restored with the help of the magical router. We're gonna get you, Croy. With the help of the magical router, she ends up they recreated flippin' Lion-O activating his sword from Thundercats, and the same shot of the Eye of Thundera, of that, and then of the shot of her wielding it. That's way too much to just be like, oh, isn't that a fun little coincidence? No,
Nope.
they animated,
was
they
straight up.
took those shots and did it, which was so, man. As a result of this, though, everybody comes out like, what? Witches? Awful, terrible. What happened? It was a witch's fault, wasn't it? And Lewis ends up speaking up for Amanda. It's like, no, I got way
Andrew
too...
too.
Andrew
And
first,
Andrew-
yeah.
and
Andrew
Andrew.
starts the ball rolling, and then Lewis is kind of like, yeah, okay.
Well, that's
yeah.
because Lewis's dad was like, they tricked you, they brainwashed you, didn't they? No, bro.
No.
Flippin' chill, all right?
That's it. We'll give that to Lewis then. At least he was honest in this situation.
That's why I don't really dislike Lewis because of what happened in the end, and I don't see him as being the major bad guy. He was just kind of like a kid who, I mean, look who his dad is. No wonder why he believed how he believed. So
He was raised with those prejudices against witches. He probably had never ever met a witch before,
Yeah.
and now he's like, oh, hold on a second, maybe I should rethink some things because I didn't really know anything.
Exactly. And it sort of goes, I think that was a learning moment for Andrew as well. It's like, we've both been so sheltered that only in these experiences that, well, I will say Andrew and his family having experience with the Cavendish family, he's been around magic all of his life, so I wouldn't say well-placed prejudice, but he has more experience in the magical world. But he was also raised with the thought that magic is a certain way as well. So having him getting the breakthrough of everything that's been happening with Akko, and especially now meeting Amanda and dealing with her a little bit more firsthand. And then Lewis seemingly having no experience with magic, having both of them have such a breakthrough. Now, the fact that Lewis isn't in the intro could be telling that we probably won't see him again, if at all, this season.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. It sounds like there could be a bigger plot at play with, like, politically at least, with how he and Andrew's families might butt heads, but probably not anytime in the near future.
It could be something where all of Andrew's friends, because Andrew is going to be in charge of this whole area, now he has a future school administrator in Lewis that is accepting of magic. He's got his two friends that are accepting of magic, and it's just building up more of a tolerance in the non-magic world, so that whenever a big magic event does happen and people go witches, there'll be somebody in power to be like, no, you don't get it. You haven't been there. You haven't seen it like I have. But I hope to see more development in that area of people who are anti-magic going, oh, okay. We were told a lot of things that...
Especially the younger generation, because hopefully the next time these kids encounter a witch, they don't jump so quickly to get dressed up in that, whatever it was they were wearing.
Let's hope that they burned all of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? This is weird.
We should probably not do that again.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of those real fast here.
That, I mean, striking imagery. Imagery.
I'll give you that.
Eastman says no Frank, so sad. We did get a little bit of Frank, at least walking with Andrew, but he didn't have any lines in this, which is a little unfortunate, maybe.
It's fun.
Could you imagine, like, we get them at, like, the equivalent of lockers, even though this is, like, a super high price prep school.
Yeah.
So whatever the equal of lockers are, open it up, and it's just like a picture of him and Lotte from the party. Like,
Oh my gosh. I'd be super about that.
Yeah. I mean, I know I was going a little bit hard on some of the ships throughout today's episodes, but hey, you do what you want, man. As long as it doesn't hurt nobody. As long as it don't hurt nobody, and you tag it properly on Tumblr.
True facts.
Then that's fine.
Tags are very important.
Tags are very important.
Things I don't need.
Anyway, any final thoughts from the chat, as well as from everybody in here about these two episodes? Or no, we won't do the other thing. But any thoughts about these episodes and where you would like to go in the future?
So my final thought is that at the very end of the last episode, we cut back to Croy, and she basically says, case 622, experiment complete. So I'm imagining this means that she's done 621 other experiments, and wondering what this is all about and where she's going.
For a while.
Yeah.
Testing that spectrum magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, mostly, what does she want with it?
Yeah, I mean, we saw skulls earlier.
Yeah, there's some interesting clues to what her end game might be, and it's frightening. No.
Yeah, and I hope that they bring in also the idea of contrasting colors. The fact that the emotions that counter each other can also be brought back to color. Like red's complementary color is green, which is the magic that we have been seeing from the Sorcerer's Stone, from all of the ley lines, from everything. So that until she finds the noir fuel spirit. And we get that light magic. Maybe it'll be a little bit more, a little bit more colorful. Let's get a little bit more colorful world. What do we think is happening to the Cavendish family?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, not enough info.
We know very little about that family, anyways.
Could it have something to do with the fact that Diana is kind of, very pro-traditional magic, and Croy coming to the school has somehow jeopardized the Cavendish family? Maybe? Just a thought?
Maybe it's something where, hey, we were funding the school for certain ideals, and now you have this crazy person in. Because maybe Amanda's parents or like an older sibling was at the school at the same time. It's like, oh, that crazy. I remember you telling me about that crazy person. Possibly. I think maybe it's Diana herself. Maybe similarly to how Andrew and Lewis are coming around when it comes to magic. Maybe in all of her research, now she's starting to speak about, there's something really big is happening. Like, what are you doing? You chill out, and there's like a moment of crisis where maybe Diana has pieced out to try to find something to help the situation, and that's the crisis, is our daughter is missing. Maybe.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, that something like that would make sense, because otherwise I feel like Diana would be the one running point on an operation like that, just because they turn to her so frequently. And they rely on her so heavily.
Help us, Diana! Help us!
Consistently through the series. So the fact that they went to Ursula was a little interesting in that regard.
In regards to this episode being an Akko and Amanda adventure, I am hopeful that means we get an Akko and Yasminka adventure. I hope that means we get an Akko and Constance adventure. I hope we get a life-changing field trip with Diana. And before the end of the season, even though I figure we probably are, just based on the intro and the previous relationship between Croy and Chariot. Good, thank you. Not going to say if we're close or not. All right, so nobody's really thrown in any sort of predictions or anything, probably because you're watching a lot more of the episodes than we are. But please join us next week, next Monday, same time as our first episode today, 3 p.m., 3:10, probably a little bit more likely. And we're going to be talking, what episodes were these? This was like
16, 17.
16, 17. So we're going to be talking about 18 and 19 at 3:10, and then about 20 and 21 at 5 p.m. next Monday, which means that the last 2 episodes will be left for the week after that. But until then, where can the folks find you? What other shows are you doing?
I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rach Goodman, or Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman. I am doing The Young and the Restless every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can also find me on Ray Donovan every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles. And I'm actually about to go off to do our gaming show here on the network, Inventory Full. So that's Mondays at 6 p.m. with the lovely Mark Donica.
On the Popcorn Talk Network. Yes. In 10 minutes' time, we're going to be talking about all of the a lot of the stories from Gamescom, because that's going to be an all-week affair, and we're going to be updates constantly going. Talking about my playthrough of Dream Daddy. Talking about what's the other game called? PlayerUnknown's Battleground, PUBG, as it's also known. So if you like gaming, gamer culture, please join us on the Popcorn Talk Network. That is going to be in about 10 minutes, so please join us over there. And follow all of us here at the AfterBuzz TV Network. Leave us iTunes reviews. We will read them on the show next week. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week from Luna Nova. Bye, everybody!
Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.